Hey guys, it's Siobhan Muir, and I'm back again after forever.
2021.
Hey, we made it to 2021. Oh, thank God. So we are back in 2021, and one of the things that I was going to do this year, and it didn't work out, but we were going to make what's called Siobhan Muir's Cinnamon Star Bread. And the reason I'm making this is it's almost like a cinnamon roll. Okay, except that it ends up being about this big, and you get to peel pieces off that you can hand out to your family like goodies, and they're all like, "Oh, thank you." So it's kind of a fun recipe, and the reason why it's Siobhan Muir is because it turns out when you have a recipe and you modify 3 ingredients, you can name it yourself. So I modified 3 ingredients back when I got the original recipe, and so yeah, now it's mine. But what I modified was the kind of milk used, the kind of flour used, and I think it was the amount of butter. But it's been a long time since it's already mine, so we're just gonna go with that. All right. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna put all of this, because it's easy, into the bread maker and let it make the dough. But you have to put all the ingredients in. Here's another thought. When you have to put stuff in a bread maker, always put the liquid first and then build everything on top of it. The last thing you put in is the yeast. Okay? All right, so you need 3/4 of a cup to 1 cup of lukewarm water. I usually use a cup. When I'm doing it in the bread maker, I usually use a full cup of water. You're going to need that moisture, otherwise the dough comes out kind of dry and then it's hard to work with. Then you put in the oil. Now, this thing, in this case, the oil you're going to use is a 1/4 cup of butter. You're going to melt this, and actually, they say that you want it to be in, what do they call it? Room temperature, right? But, if you don't have time to wait for this thing to defrost, you can always throw it in the microwave, melt this sucker, and then you're good to go. So then it becomes oil, right? Easy. And then you add the vanilla extract, the 2 tablespoons of sugar, 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and then you put in the 1/4 cup of almond milk. We don't happen to have any almond milk right this very instant, but that means we'll just use goat milk. But the idea is to have almond milk and almond flour when you make this. So you need a 1/4 cup of almond milk, and then you need a 1/2 cup of almond flour and 2 1/4 cups of regular flour. So you have this thing. Actually, she gave me 2 of these. Look, now you can get 2 cups of flour.
I'm so smart.
You are so smart. Thank goodness you brought them both. And then
I do what I can.
Yeah. So this is the kind of almond flour that I use. We can get it at our local, like big box store, things like Costco or Sam's Club. And so it's nice to have around, especially if you use a lot of almond flour. Then our vanilla. Hey, the cool thing was this year a good friend of mine actually made me some homemade vanilla. You can see it, if you can see it closely in the light, you can see that there's vanilla beans in there. And the thing you add to it is vodka, and you let this sucker sit for like 6 months, and you get vanilla out of the deal. And I've always wanted to make some, couldn't find the beans. But she made some for me instead, so now I have homemade vanilla.
We get to wait for 6 months to use.
Yes, well, but once you start it, you leave it in a mason jar, and you pour off a little at a time, and you keep refilling it, so that you end up with homemade vanilla. And I'm so excited. So, if you happen to have homemade vanilla, I recommend using it. If you don't, no big deal. Store-bought works. Okay, so you throw all of that into the bread maker, and then you make a little well in the flour, and you add 2 teaspoons of instant yeast. Throw that in the bread maker, hit go, and in a half an hour, or an hour and a half, you got it. It's totally good to go. So that's what we're gonna do, and then we'll be back when we have some dough. So I'll see you then. Once you have all the ingredients put together in your, look at it jiggle. in your bread maker, because I admit it, I cheat. I totally cheat. I don't want to do this by hand. And besides, it takes a lot less time if you actually put it in your bread maker and let it go. You hit click. That's what it works. So once you have the dough made and put together, what it says is divide the dough into 4 equal pieces, shape each piece like a ball, cover the balls, and allow them to rest for 15 minutes. So what I have here is I have a glass baking dish, and I'm going to take this dough out of here. Actually, I want a little bit of flour.
Yeah, okay, flour.
Flour, just a little bit of flour. You want to take this out.
15 minutes.
Yeah, we'll do 15 minutes to let this thing fool around and rise.
Boy, that looks fantastic right there.
It looks yummy.
I was talking about the blade, but that's okay.
She was talking about the blade. I was talking about the bread. Weird how we think of it differently. Okay, the idea here also is if you want to, you can totally add flour to it just so that it doesn't stick to your hands as much. Because you are going to divide it into...
Do you need more flour?
No, I think I'm good. Like I said, you do kind of want to beat it a little bit. The one thing is with yeasty bread, you want to beat it because then it allows it to rise again. It's kind of like a phoenix, you know? Rise again. One large egg beaten. Beat it. Here, well, you can actually beat it with that. You can totally, yeah, you put it in a bowl. No! Yes, go really!
Boy, I wouldn't have imagined that.
I mean, you know, can I have a knife, please?
No.
A sharp one.
Sharp one.
Sharp one. Dangerous. We're dangerous in the Muir household.
Just because it's dull, I'm gonna give it to you. Please don't kill me with it.
Yeah, see how you are? I don't know. So you do need to divide it into 4 equal pieces because these are going to be the layers of your star bread. And then this is when you roll them kind of into balls. Now, it's not going to be perfectly round. You're not looking at tennis balls here. But you do want to kind of roll it into an oozy ball. How's that? No laughing.
I'm not laughing.
Yeah, you're totally. Yes. You know, you'd think she was my kid or something. You know? All right. Eh? Did you say? Really? Is that a technical term? Yeah.
Yep. Yes, it is.
Okay. So once you have all 4 pieces, more or less, ooh, this one's going to be really big. This I can tell it's bigger than the others. Now you can stick one in there. I might do that. Because you want them to be more or less about equal size. Because these are going to be 4 different layers to your star bread. Because you're going to end up rolling this thing out on a tray and putting it on parchment paper, which you hate.
It hates me too. You're doing that.
Oh, I'm doing that. Is that what's going on? Mm-hmm. I'm totally doing that?
Yep, because those products hate me and I hate them back. So
it's a mutual hatred. Yeah. Okay, so this is what you're going to get. 4 lumps of dough that are more or less rounded, and you're going to end up putting them to the side and letting them rise by themselves in quiet for 15 minutes. So we will do that. We will let them rise. Rise! Okay. Put the towel over it and call it good. My oldest friend got me this for Christmas. Look at it.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, it's all the little...
Yeah, all the
Oh, that's
Permian,
so
the
cool.
Cenozoic, yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, and then all the critters.
Wow, and that's kind of funny because then you could be like, they're like, how much glasses of water did you drink today? And you could be like, oh, Paleozoic.
Devonian. Now that you have your dough rise for about 15 minutes, you should have lumps I know that seems like a strange thing to say, but you really do want your dough to be lumpy. Ooh, look at that. What you want to do with this stuff is you're going to take each one of these balls and roll them out until they're about 10 inches. Now, it doesn't have to be a perfect circle because in baking, perfection only works in cakes, okay? This is not a cake, this is bread. So it's a whole different thing. But it will turn out beautiful no matter how perfectly circular or not. And mine usually end up being actually oblong because of the pan.
I did notice that.
Yeah, and they grow out that way. Which we're not going to talk about me growing out that way, but the whole point is they do not actually end up being perfectly round. And that's okay because nobody's going to care because it's going to taste good and they're going to love it that way. So once you have these things all risen, they want you to gather your filling ingredients because now you're going to start making the layers. And in between the layers you have a beaten egg, which is just ingredients at the moment. So you want to get your egg, but not the egg shell. You can have that.
Thank you. I got a little gift.
You did! You totally, there's a
Happy
big
New Year
gift.
to me.
Yay! And then you just want to beat this thing. You don't have to do anything exciting with it. You just need an egg that's beaten. Beat the egg. Beat it!
Yeah.
Kind of like a bad Michael Jackson song. No. People love that song. It was in the top 40, I think, for
Which one?
decades. Beat it!
Oh, I'm glad he did several.
Just beat it. Just beat it. Yeah, okay. That does date me a little bit. Obviously, Murrelet #1 doesn't know that song.
Oh, of course I do. I had no idea Michael Jackson did that one.
Case in point. So you want a beaten egg because you're going to use this to put on the cinnamon sugar. Now, according to this, you want a half a cup of sugar and a tablespoon of cinnamon. I didn't do that. What I did is I put some sugar in there and dumped a tablespoon of cinnamon in there, and then I mixed it. You really can't go wrong. You do kind of want it more on the lighter side than the darker side, but cinnamon sugar is cinnamon sugar. You're gonna throw it in the middle of this thing and it's going to be wonderful. So no worries about the exact amount, sugar to cinnamon. Do have lots more sugar than cinnamon, but the exact amount doesn't really matter. Take this one, throw it over there. I'm gonna move this out of the way because otherwise it gets in the way. And again, what you're really doing is, don't forget to coat your ironing. What is this? The rolling pin. That would be a rolling pin. So what you're trying to do is roll this thing into about a 10-inch circle. Now, can you put some flour? Just a hint. And smear it around, please. Good. The idea is you want this kind of dry, because if it's sticky, then it doesn't roll at all and it sticks to everything, see? Don't do that. Get over there.
I'm getting some flour.
See, I usually do this on my thing, but then you have to peel it off the wood and then stick it on this thing.
That's
So
not nearly as hard as trying to hold this.
yeah, I know. But you're talented.
I am. Thank you.
Again, it's not going to be perfectly round, but the idea is to get it,
Perfectly square.
You are not helping. You are totally. I'm telling you. You mean perfectly square, Mom?
Good luck. You still have to use it.
I'm multi-talented. All right, so okay, it's huge, but it works, and it's going to be.
Eggs over there.
Yeah, you put it way over here. Like now, I have to go get it. Brush a thin coat of beaten egg. Beaten egg. The Michael Jackson egg. Onto your dough.
Happy little trees.
That's Bob Ross, and he didn't bake. All right. Nobody accused Bob Ross of baking anything. He might have been baked, but he wasn't baking anything.
Weird Al did a kind of comedy on Just Beat It. He said, just eat it. So this works out perfectly.
Yeah, well, that's the end result. You take the cinnamon sugar, and this you want to be liberal with. You do not want to be conservative on your cinnamon sugar. You really want a pretty decent layer, okay? You want to make sure there is cinnamon sugar, because this is where you're going to get that cinnamon roll style of baked good.
Looks like you're trying to make a beach.
It's gonna be yummy. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Happy New Year. Aw, thanks.
Yeah.
Alright, this one hopefully will be easier, but just in case. That would be a good idea.
Yeah, that's good. Because I don't really want to chase it all the way across the floor.
Oh, you're just no fun.
I don't want to
No sense of adventure at all.
I don't want to do more cleaning than I absolutely have to.
You have to do cleaning? You? Really? I thought I was the resident cleaning person.
I'm the resident sous chef.
I'll give you that. Resident sous chef. Yeah. Yeah. So rolling it out, I know it's kind of meditative actually. Because the idea is you kind of want it more or less the same shape as the lower layer. In the long run, it's not going to matter because you can stretch it. As you can see, the dough is kind of stretchy. All right, can you bring the thing back, please? So,
Did you roll out another square?
I did not.
Well, that's rude, because this one was a square.
Don't mind the attitude. She just wants it to match, which it will.
Oh, good, better.
Yeah, remember that, like I said, the dough is pretty elastic. So you get away with a lot of, it doesn't, like I said, you don't have to make it perfectly circular, but you're going to put egg on every layer, okay? And you're going to need a little bit at the end. So the idea is a thin layer of egg.
So instead of being liberal with your sugar, be conservative with your egg. Just not a smile out. Just not a smile.
Oops, hello. Get back here. All right. So that's the idea. So you want to make sure that is covered, and then you do it again. Really elastic, and it's oozy, and then it folds on you, and you're like, what? Get back here!
Yeah?
You're not allowed to do that. That's kind of good.
Sometimes the charm.
Go get the tray. Always line them up if you can. It makes it easier in the long run. And don't worry about it if it's a little on the thin side. It's all gonna be fine. Alright, so now you can see there's a little bit left. This is what you're gonna put on the top when you're totally done with it. So you wanna save a little bit of egg for the last layer. Alright, so I'm gonna do the last one. Alright. The other nice thing about having a smooth ironing pin. We are ironing. We're ironing. I don't tell me what this is. This is a rolling pin. But you could be ironing this stuff. It's just not without heat. The nice thing about having a smooth one of these things, the smooth thingy, is that it makes rolling this stuff out pretty easy. Now you've got this thing that is basically a set of dough pancakes. All right. So this is what it ends up looking like. So you can kind of see on the edges these little layers that you've put egg in between along with the dough. So what you're going to do with this, now you've got, great, I've got a bunch of pancakes. They're more or less the same size. Now understand that when you let this thing rest for a while, it's going to rise and puff up. So don't worry so much that it looks like a weird doughy pancake stack. So what you're going to do is place a 2.5 to 3 inch round cutter. Now you can have a cutter that's just absolutely perfect. You can have the poor man's cutter, which is basically a glass. Which is, we just happen to have that. Where'd you get that?
It's right below you. It's 3.5 inches.
Okay, so it's a little bigger than, do we have a smaller one? Not a smaller ruler. A smaller glass. Sorry, I wasn't specific. Attitude. This whole video is attitude. So what you do is you need something that's about this size for a cutter, because you're not really going to cut through this thing. You just want to leave an impression because you're going to cut to it. So you need this as a guide. And it said, yeah, a pint jar lid or a drinking glass in the center of the dough as a guide. Press the cutter in the middle down just enough to leave an imprint and remove it. See? A little bit of an imprint. Ta-da! There we go. All right. Then take a pair of scissors. Literally scissors. And you're going to cut from the outside of the dough to the center, stopping at this line that you've put in there. And it basically, you're going to cut these into pieces because you're going to wrap them together. So I always do this because I think that way. I always do this at quarters. We start at the quarters. So we're going to start here. And we're going to literally cut through all the layers to the middle. Then we're going to rotate. And you want to just cut to your guide. If you go any further, you're going to get in trouble. But this is going to leave a really cool image at the end.
Looks kind of like a petunia now. You see? Kind of like the...
It does. It looks like a petunia?
Yeah. Because you know how the flowers kind of like a trumpet?
Yeah, it does. Yeah. All right. Now, what you do is when you have these pieces, you're going to cut those in half, too. All right? Now, you're going to cut them into 16ths. So you're going to do it again. And you're going to cut each one of these in half. Once you have these, you're going to pick up 2 of the pieces and twist them. All right? So, oops, and you gotta make sure you get all 4 layers, all right? And you twist, and you twist, and you twist, and then you kind of mush them together and kind of make an ending. So you get this rounded look, and then you twist. and twist and twist. And then wrap. So what you're going to do is once you get these things twisted, and your fingers are going to get all goopy, but you end up with a star. Sort of, once I finish that one. See? Now you have that central piece, and then you have all these lobes of the star. What you do is once you have this star all set up there like that, and your fingers are all goopy, you let it, you cover it, and you let it rise for 45 minutes. And that'll help kind of fix some of the inaccuracies, some of the things that look a little weird, but it'll it'll puff up. and then it'll look even cooler than it does. But in the moment right now, this is what you should look like before it starts to rise. So we'll see you in about 45 minutes, and we'll throw it in the oven. See you then. Okay, so it has been 45 minutes, and we'll do the big reveal. Ooh. Ta-da! It looks like a pretty big star. Actually, it's a lot more round this time. But you can see that it kind of puffs up. It will even puff up some more once you bake it. But what you're going to end up is you're going to have these individual lobes that will be just like cinnamon rolls. Yes, you can smell it. So, what it says is once you have let it rise. Once you've let it rise for 45 minutes, what you want to do is you want to take the last of your egg, ta-da, and you want to brush the star with the egg. This gives it a really beautiful golden color at the end. So again, it's only a thin layer. You're not coating this thing and making sure that it's, perfect. But you do want a little bit of egg just to make it golden. You're just putting a little egg on each side here. Once it bakes, it'll actually turn really beautiful and gold. Ta-da! Thank you, darling. All right, then it says bake the star for 12 to 15 minutes until it's nicely golden and dark brown. And then it says the center should register at about 200 degrees Fahrenheit on the digital thermometer. Oh, I didn't say. Put it in the oven. You want to preheat your oven to 400 degrees Fahrenheit. Which, do you remember that conversion?
No, I don't.
Anyway, you want to cook this at about 400 degrees Fahrenheit, and this is already it rose just by itself, but it's going to puff up even more, and then you're going to get a really beautiful star. So what we're going to do is we're going to put this thing in for what? 12 to 15 minutes. In any case, what you want to do is you want to bake this thing for the 12 to 15 minutes. The longer you do, the darker the patina will be from the egg, but it's going to puff up. So you are going to get a wonderful cinnamon roll type dessert. Well, dessert. It could be breakfast, frankly.
You've done it for breakfast.
Yeah, I've done it for breakfast, and it doesn't have nearly as much sugar as some of the other things that you could put for breakfast. Because yes, you did the liberal sprinkling of the cinnamon sugar, but it's not as much sugar as like a Danish. Because you slather that sugar stuff in the middle, you fold it over, and then you slather more sugar stuff on top. So it's not as much sugar as that, but it is definitely a dessert item. So we're going to be back in about 15 minutes or so, and we'll show you what this thing looks like, and then we'll eat it. Well, maybe not. You gotta let it cool.
Right, yeah, still.
And we'll eat it. Oh. So yeah, we'll see you in about 15 minutes. All right, you guys. So the good news is we can take it out of the oven. Ooh, the big reveal.
Oh,
Ooh, it turned out
how
good.
beautiful that one is.
Look at this. Yeah.
Look at how pretty.
Oh, and it smells good.
Oh, yes.
I know you can't smell it through the camera, but it smells so good. And you can see as what the egg did is it gave a lovely patina all over it. Now, sometimes you get a little bit of the egg. Don't worry, it's cooked all the way through, so you don't have to worry about, eating raw egg. That's not happening. But
Oh, look at how pretty.
yeah, and it smells so good.
Yes.
So here's the petals I was telling you about. Each one of these is like something you can pull off, just like you're having a sweet roll, right? A cinnamon roll, because you have a great. It just comes apart. It's almost like monkey bread. You just pull it out, and then you can eat it with butter. You can eat it without butter. I don't eat it with butter, but you can eat it without butter. Or you can add butter to it. Although, with all the cinnamon sugar in it, it's gonna taste wonderful. And it smells really good.
Yes, it does. I'm really hungry.
You're always really hungry. But
Well, yes,
that's something we
but-
know we love about you. So that's how you make cinnamon star bread. And it's really easy. You just put the bread together, put the dough together, and do it step by step. Remember to leave that mark so you can cut up to the edges of it, and then you get to braid it or twist. And then you get this lovely lobed looking star bread.
Yeah.
Yeah, good stuff. Yay! I know, it. Now, you're not supposed to eat bread.
Or if you're allergic to almonds.
Or if you're allergic to almonds, yeah, don't. If you are allergic to almonds, do not eat this. Do not do that, because there is almond flour in it and almond milk. So don't do that. But otherwise, this is a really nice alternative to making sweet rolls, because what I've noticed is when I make sweet rolls, the sweet rolls in the center, when they're all baked together, remain doughy, and then they don't cook, and then you're like, ew, that's kind of nasty. This thing cooks all the way through, so you get a really nice thing in the morning. And you have 8 of these things, and plus that, so it feeds 9 people. Everybody gets a roll. And this, of course, is 4 layers of cinnamon goodness. Yep. So, thank you for joining us today. I hope you guys had a good time. Definitely take a look at, subscribe to my channel, please. Make it easier for me to do these things live. Also, check me out on Facebook and on Twitter and on Instagram and Pinterest, I think. I should probably put this picture on Pinterest. Take a link. But thank you for joining us. Happy making, happy baking, happy eating, and happy reading. See you next time. Bye!